The whole concept of neuroplasticity is just amazing, how we can rewire our brain.
Welcome to Biz Stories Shared, where storytellers share their inspiration, motivation, some disappointments, and how they applied the lessons that led them to success. Stories are gifts. Listen as these gifts are shared. Now, here is your host, Charlotte Plott.
This is Charlotte Plott, and I'm thrilled to bring you our guest today, Vered Kogan. Vered, are you ready to be a storyteller?
Absolutely. Thank you.
We are so happy to have you here. A little bit about Vered. She is a professional coach and a career strategist based in Scottsdale, Arizona. She coaches, speaks, and writes about how to navigate the changing world of work. She is passionate about helping professionals transform their career to feel more energized and live a more meaningful life. Vered is a professional certified coach accredited by the International Coach Federation with over 12 years of experience in the areas of coaching and consulting. She has a diverse background including management consulting, engineering, marketing, human resource management, and entrepreneurship. Vered, I've given our listeners just a little summary about you. So take a minute and tell us about you personally, because we want to get to know you better, and then give us an overview of your business.
Absolutely. So on a personal note, I am a mom of three beautiful daughters. I am a wife. I live in Scottsdale, Arizona. I am originally from Israel. I grew up in Israel and spent most of my adult life in Toronto and then more recently in the US. Very grateful to be living where I'm living and doing what I'm doing.
Oh, that's wonderful. I bet those three daughters keep you busy, don't they?
They do.
Well, here at Biz Stories Shared, we start every show with our guest's favorite quote. So what's your favorite quote, and how do you apply this to your everyday thinking?
Well, thank you for asking. There are many, many quotes that I love and that I share with clients. One of the ones that has a lot of meaning for me is a quote by Stephen Covey. And it states, "I am not a product of my circumstances. I am a product of my decisions." And this particular quote has a lot of meaning for me because one of my biggest passions is intentional change, to help people to live more intentionally in their lives. And it's actually the reason that I went into coaching. It's the reason that I reinvented myself several times in my life, in my professional life. It's just a great joy to see people transform their career and their lives. One example that comes to mind around how this quote came true for me in my life is when I worked as a structural engineer many, many years ago. And although it was a wonderful work environment, I had great peers, and it was a wonderful job. I knew quite quickly that it wasn't a good fit for me. And I could have continued down that path for many years, but I decided to do some reflection, self-reflection, and realize that business, and later I realized coaching would be a better fit. And so I took the risk and decided to create that intentional change by going back to school at the time.
Wow, that was a big decision to make that intentional change and to reinvent yourself. That took a lot of gumption, fortitude to do that.
Yes, it does. And what I've learned in my life, and then it's been validated through coaching, is that there are really three ingredients to intentional change. And we need all three. The first is awareness.
Okay.
So Charlotte, that's really about having clarity about who we are, right? So there's an opportunity to know what are our values, right? What's most important to us? What are our personal preferences, our personality, our interests, our strengths, of course, and so on. And I use a variety of assessments with clients when we do that. And of course, having clarity on what we want. So it's where we are today and who we are and what we truly want. And that's a lot of the work that I do as a career strategist, is to help people figure out what is it that you truly want, both personally and professionally, and to align those two goals. And then the second ingredient to any change is choice. It's about seeing possibilities, and it's about then trusting ourselves. The third component is about trusting ourselves and the process, that we can make that change happen and that we're worth it.
Wow, and that we're worth it. That's a big realization for people to admit to, isn't it?
It is, and I, in my work, we do a lot of work on exploring and challenging assumptions and limiting beliefs, and helping people to embrace different perspectives and different mindsets around themselves and their capacity to change.
Well, I can see that you really do help your clients because that sounds like very in-depth work that you do to help get them on the path of knowing themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Good for you. Well, you have so many facets of your life. You've coached hundreds of clients at Lee Hecht Harrison, a leading global outplacement firm, and the Fresh Start Women's Foundation. You're a volunteer at several nonprofit organizations, coaching established executives, and then launching your own company in 2011. As you focus on your journey as an entrepreneur, I'm going to ask you to tell us the story of your worst entrepreneurial moment.
Worst entrepreneurial moment. Well, I can think of my worst career moment, which would be around when I went through a downsizing many years ago as a management consultant, and luckily was paired up with a career coach who was a tremendous source of support to me, and that's what kind of guided me down this path in helping people through career transition. In terms of my business,
sometimes I ask a failure to tell a failure, and often people choose not to use the word failure. So I've kind of rephrased the question.
Yeah, here's the thing. It's interesting that you say that. I've had many opportunities where I've learned along the way, but I honestly don't see any of them, as you said, as a failure.
Right.
I believe that through change, there are going to be failures. I expect to fail many more times, so to speak, in my career, but I will learn from every single one of them, and will do better. So things that I have learned from, experiences that I've learned from, for example, when I started out, I had a certain business name, which then evolved into another business name, and the kind of different niches that I've worked with over time within the world of career. And have learned over time with respect to the niches of who I like to work with more, and who I provide the best value to in terms of what kinds of clients and so on, and their needs. And in terms of business name, I've learned that really I'm selling myself. So ultimately, I went to my business name is Verit Kogan Coaching. My domain name is veritkogan.com, because I am selling myself, and that will never change, right? Business names come and go. But again, I cannot think off the top of my head of something that I would consider a true failure, meaning that I have not been able to learn from and evolve from.
Well, and that's understandable, because if we don't have failures, we're not putting ourselves out there where we have to experience when we didn't get the results that we set out to achieve, because that's how we learn and grow. So thank you. Your answer was just right on.
Yeah, resilience and persistence are key to success, and they're part of having a growth mindset.
Resistance and persistence.
Resilience.
Oh, resilience. Yes. Resilience and persistence. Is that what you said? Yeah,
yes.
Those are powerful words. Yeah. All right. Well, a review like this every so often helps us to remember that we did learn lessons, and they help us to move forward, which you definitely did. You just kept moving forward. You weren't hesitant to change your business name, and took that different approach, and look at where you are now. What I want to do now, Vered, is to go to the other end of the spectrum. Let's talk about a time in your journey when you had an aha moment, when you became aware of the new path that you wanted to travel. So take us to that moment when that light bulb went off and take us through the steps that you took to turn that idea into success.
Hmm. Well, when you said the word aha, what popped in my mind was actually the very first hour of the very first day of
Oh,
my first coaching program at
wow.
the Adler School of Coaching. And I walked through those doors thinking, I know everything there is to know about coaching. I had been coaching for 5 years at that point at the First Start Women's Foundation. I felt like the expert in the room. I had been successful, lots of clients got jobs, they transformed their lives. And I very quickly realized that what I knew and did well was career consulting. It
Oh,
wasn't true coaching.
okay.
My world turned upside down. And what I mean by, and it's actually some of the colleagues who were in the room with me experienced the same light bulb moment. When we realized that coaching is not at all what we thought it was. We thought that coaching is about supporting clients and giving them advice based on our expertise. But coaching is actually not that. It's about listening intently. It's about helping clients to come up with their own advice, their own solutions through asking them great questions and making powerful reflections, sharing perspectives, and holding them accountable to taking some actions. And so it is not about being the expert, it's about being a partner. It's about a relationship to help someone to reach their potential and achieve their goals.
Well, that really is a different perspective for me, too, to think of you as a partner instead of uh, a mentor, instead of you being the know it all, but not know it all in a smart aleck, but as someone who's going to guide me. So
Yes.
it's more of a partnership then, huh?
Oh, absolutely. It is a relationship, it's a partnership. There's a tremendous amount of trust and knowing, understanding the clients and making connections with them over time to their strengths, to their values, holding up a mirror, really, in many ways, so that they can find their way. And we know, and the research backs this up, that that's the best way to help people to create meaningful and lasting change, is to have that change come from them.
Yes. Well, it would make sense that if it comes from them, it's more viable to them. They can buy into it
Mhm.
more readily than if you just tell them what to do.
Yeah, and so when I went into that classroom, this was, almost 4 years ago, I thought, I really am just going for the credential. I wanted to be certified as a professional coach because I thought,
Aha.
like I said, I know everything. But since then, I've learned that there is so much to coaching and to being a masterful coach. I've had attended multiple courses since then, have multiple certifications since then, and I coach, I mentor other coaches who are going through the process.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Oh. Well, and then that helps you learn too. While you're mentoring them, you learn along with them in a deeper level.
Absolutely. We learn from everything we do when we are open to learning.
Right. That is a big secret. We have to be open.
Mhm.
Well, these real life experiences help us take the lessons that you've learned and apply them to other facets of your life and business. And so that's what helps us to keep growing. So now I'm going to ask you to bring us to the present time and share your proudest entrepreneurial moment.
Oh, hmm. There are many moments that come to life, to come to mind. The first one is, it's a simple one, but it's one that had meaning for me. It was when I got my first check
Oh,
as a professional coach, because it symbolized a new start.
yes.
And at the time, for those couple of years, I was a stay-at-home mom. I was a very busy stay-at-home mom. I volunteered lots of places and I was involved in many things. But getting that first check was the official beginning of my entrepreneurial venture.
Oh, how wonderful.
Yeah, of course, there have been a lot of growth and successes since then, but I have to say that that's a moment that stands out in my mind.
Well, I can see that that really would stand out, and we love to hear stories like yours and getting that first check, how exciting that would be, and how you've grown and made your business a success. So, and how your business helps others to thrive. So tell us one thing that is really exciting in your business right now.
In my business right now, let me think about this. So many things. So one of the things that comes to mind is my interest in brain-based coaching.
Oh,
And I've actually just enrolled in a very intense 10-week course on masterful brain-based coaching.
oh, that sounds
And
interesting.
yeah, it's absolutely fascinating, Charlotte. It really is. The whole concept of neuroplasticity is just amazing, how we can rewire our brain and how, from physiological perspective, what we focus on grows. It's directly related to the work that I do with clients regarding career strategy and being intentional about the
Yes.
change that they want to see in their life. And it's about gaining awareness of the different neural networks that we have, right? Our head, our heart, and our gut, and how they're all connected, and how our thoughts, our feelings, and particularly positive emotions and thoughts can directly impact our ability to expand our possibilities, to open our mind to seeing things that we haven't seen before, so that we can create and stay accountable to the change that we want to see in our life.
Oh my goodness, that sounds so exciting. When you finish your course, we'll have to talk again because I know you're going to have more to share about that.
Yeah,
That
it is a growing field of research, and particularly in terms of the connection to coaching, how the brain works, and it is absolutely amazing. And it all aligns with the process of coaching and what we know now around how to make a coaching relationship successful.
Well, does this have some training on your um, subconscious mind?
Yeah, absolutely. It does. And it's about being intentional. So setting intentions around what we want to feel, right? For example, and thinking there are certain tools and techniques that I don't want to get into now, but it's around um, being grateful, have
Oh,
positive emotions like gratitude, joy, peace, and so on. It's about envisioning our future, which we do. Every coaching conversation has an element of visioning in it,
okay.
where the client gets to experience, to kind of build those mental connections, those neural connections around how they want to be and what they want to do, right? Because there are two parts to who we are. There's what we do and who we are, how we show up, right? That deeper level, because we're not what we do, right? We know that. We're
Right.
much more than that. And in order to get unstuck and to create meaningful change, we need to have awareness of that, of who we want to be. And so being intentional about that absolutely does create, it actually rewires our brain such that we can create a successful change in our life.
Well, that really sounds exciting and powerful. And the statement that you made about we're not what we do, and that's so hard for us to remember that we aren't what we do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I see that all the time in the work that I do. People come, they've done something for many years, they're not happy for whatever reason, they're overstressed, or they're feeling bored, or they're realizing that it's time for change. And the reason that they hire a coach is when uh, that is feeling is elevated. They're really committed and ready to create change in their life.
Right.
And it's hard for them sometimes, for people to look beyond what it is that they've done for many years. And so there is a process that we go to, and it's around first having awareness of values, right? And prioritizing those. What is most important to
Mm-hmm.
you in your life? It's around understanding how they think and how they learn, and all of those things, their natural preferences, so that they find an environment, be it in the job itself or the organization, that is best suited for their preferences, that will make them more fulfilled in. And of course, looking at their strengths, having them own their achievements,
Yes.
right? Because
Wow.
often we don't take credit for what. So a coach is there to hear that, to ask about that, to like I said, help the clients see that and believe it, so that they can create the change that they want in their life.
Oh, Oh, that sounds so exciting. So when are you going to be done with this program? Or are you just starting?
This particular one is I have 7 more weeks of,
Oh, good.
but one of the things that I share with most of my clients, I would actually say all of my clients, now that I think about it, is an openness to learning. I
Mm-hmm.
constantly take classes and want to continue to stretch out of my comfort zone
Yes.
and learn more. And the clients that I work with, they are very ambitious. That's why they hire a coach,
Right.
right? Because they want to be intentional about their career development, right? They want to take charge of their career. They want to make sure that their career is aligned with their personal values, right? With what's important for them, and they're willing to take action to see that happen.
Well, so exciting. I'm really happy for you that you're on that path and going to be helping so many people in that new direction. I just think that I don't think we know enough about our brain and what it can do,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't pay enough attention to it. So I
Yes.
think this is powerful what you're learning.
Mm-hmm.
Good for you. Well, what is the best business advice that you've ever received?
I think the best business advice is something that I heard a gentleman by the name of William Aruda,
Hmm.
who's a branding specialist, say, and he said brands are not created; they are uncovered.
Oh,
And that was very powerful for me in the moment, and it really stuck because it it, at the time I was, a newer coach, and like I said, kind of evolving through that process of what is the image and the niche and all of those things. And I realized it's not about that. It's about who I am as an individual and how I show up as a coach, and how I can um, create the most value, the most impact, the most change for my clients. Just giving them my best. And so it also goes the same for my clients, because in our conversations, particularly those clients that are in transition or looking to change careers, it really is about having conversations about what makes them unique. What
okay.
are those strengths and values that makes them unique, and how they can use that to their advantage through their transition or career development plan.
Wow. Well, that really sounds powerful. Good for you and lucky for your clients. Well, now I'm going to ask you to share some specific ways that show how you achieve becoming such a successful entrepreneur. Does that sound like a plan?
Sure.
Okay. Well, what is the vision of the future of your business?
The vision is growth. And I
Okay.
say that because right now my business is a boutique coaching practice. I
Okay.
have a select number of clients that I take on at any one time so that I can give them my best. Because,
Right.
like I mentioned, I do have a family, and it is important for me, as it is for my clients, to keep a balance.
Right.
But I also want to give wholeheartedly to my clients, not just during the calls, but in between the calls.
Sure.
And so, in order to do that, I have to limit uh, the extent of my business. Moving forward, the business will grow over time. I will add on some additional services and products, like additional coaching programs and some self-paced options that some clients have asked about. Um, I will collaborate with other coaches, and I do somewhat now. I do refer
Okay.
out some work and have some resume writers and so on that work with me. But I will partner with some coaches probably in the
Oh,
next 2 or 3 years to expand the service offering and work directly with organizations as well. Right now, I work one-on-one with individuals.
right. Good. Well, it sounds like a good plan.
Mhm.
Well, can you share one of your personal habits that you strongly believe contributes to your success?
It's a good question. The habit that I'm thinking of is what I do every night when I get into bed.
Yes.
And that is that I just reflect on the day. I actually do it, chronologically. So I start with the beginning of the day of what happened and what worked well and what didn't work as well.
Oh,
Not just from a business perspective,
right.
but just in my life with my family and so on. What have I learned? Like I said, that's really important to me. And every experience, I believe, is brought to us so that we can learn something from it. And so, what did I learn? I also am very mindful about acknowledging myself, right? And that's part of not being a judger, what we call a judger, but being a learner.
Mm.
And even when something doesn't go well, just as I encourage my clients to acknowledge themselves, I do for myself. And it's also related to being mindful about gratefulness, right? What am I grateful for? So those things, it's just now a habit that when I kind of get into bed and the lights are off and I can just kind of reflect, that's what goes through my mind.
Oh, that sounds like a very powerful way to have those thoughts as you are drifting off to sleep, because that's what your subconscious is hearing and knows that that's who you are and how you want to continue to be. And reflecting on, I can't remember what you said about not not judging yourself if something didn't go quite right. You don't judge yourself. Is that what you said?
Yes, it's a constant, as with any individual, right? We have our inner critic, our
Oh,
gremlin, our saboteur, and being mindful of what that saboteur is whispering in our ears, and taking that as an opportunity to learn from it, right? So what can I learn from the experience? How can I acknowledge myself,
yes.
right? Even if the acknowledgement is about it, my intention, even if something didn't go well,
Mm-hmm.
right? But it's about our intention and what can we do differently and better moving forward.
Oh, that sounds
Yeah.
so good. Your intentions, you use that, you really do pay attention to your intentions, don't you?
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's what my clients come to me for. They
Mm-hmm.
want to be more intentional. They don't want to be on autopilot anymore.
Right.
They want to know clearly what it is that they really want, and then they want to intentionally move towards that. They want to be accountable, they want to take actions, they want to see the change in their life. They're done with what they're doing right now because it's not working for them.
Okay, great. Well, it's no wonder you are so successful. Well, Vera, do you have an internet resource to share with our listeners which helps your efficiency, like Evernote or a special app? And storytellers, you will find the links to these sites in the show notes of today's episode at bizstorieshared.com. Vered Kogan.
Thank you. Um, the resource that comes to mind that I've been using for the past 4 or 5 months is called Contactually.
Hmm.
And it is a fantastic tool to keep track of contacts and to stay mindful about staying in touch with people. Are you
Oh,
familiar with this, Charlotte?
no, tell me more.
Yeah, so it's a tool where it integrates the social media, right? Our contacts from our social media, like LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter and so on, and all of our email accounts, and into a database where we
Wow.
have maintain our information about our contacts, and we're able to bucket, they call it, put people into buckets of how quickly or what is the frequency with which you want to stay in touch with them. So, for example, I may have a bucket for my coaching colleagues through the International Coach Federation, and it's important for me to stay in touch with them, let's say every couple of months in some way.
Okay.
Okay? And so, the system tracks where I connect with them, whether it's by email or social media and so on, and it will send a reminder if I have not had contact
Oh,
in the
really?
past 2 months. Yeah, so it's just a little tool that is not too expensive to use. I've heard that the rates have gone up a little bit, but it is, for me, it has served me well because I can focus on my business and not on uh, keeping track of when I stay in touch with
Right.
people, which I value. It's important for me to nurture relationships, not just from
Yes.
a business perspective, but from a friendship perspective and an opportunity to support others. And so this is just a way to make that a little easier.
Oh, so true. Is it hard to set up?
Not at all.
And so
No,
would
and they have a wonderful customer service team. I had several conversations with them over the phone at no extra charge, where they'll kind of walk you through the process and answer any questions and so on.
great. Well, thank you for that. Would you spell it for us?
Oh, let's see. Let me write it down. So it is, I believe it's like contact actually, but let me just see. Yeah, it's contactually. So it's about contact actually, but one word.
Okay, .com.
Hmm.
Great, thank you for that. Well, would you describe for us who are perfect referrals for your business? By that I mean business associates or clients that our listeners know who would benefit from doing business with you?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. So the clients that I work with are ambitious, right? Like
Okay,
I said, we've talked about being intentional.
right,
They want to grow, they want to develop, they are learners. So they're ambitious corporate leaders or entrepreneurs or established executives. They value self-awareness, and I say that because a lot of the coaching is very much around um, being willing and open to answer some difficult, sometimes questions about ourselves and our world, and being willing to take the time to be self-introspective uh, and gain that self-awareness. They are looking to take control, as I said, of their life. They want a satisfying career. They want to make sure that they align their career with their personal life, and they want to have a plan. So
okay,
it, coaching is not just a bunch of conversations. It's very goal oriented. So right from the very beginning, we know what the goals are, we set a plan, and the clients are held accountable to
right.
uh, taking actions to achieving those goals, and there are measurements along the way to make sure that they do that.
All right. Well, if you could recommend just one book to our listeners, what would it be?
Oh, that's an easy one. I would say by Carol Dweck. She's a Stanford professor. She wrote a book on mindset. I believe it's the new psychology of success.
Oh,
And it is a fabulous book about
really?
shifting from what's called a fixed to a growth mindset. And just very quickly, a fixed mindset is one where we believe that the way that we were born is the way that we will be, right? That our abilities
Right.
and our intelligence is essentially carved in stone. Whereas a growth mindset is believing that we have the capacity to change and grow. And when we have that growth mindset, when we embrace it, and sometimes it's a constant choice to embrace that, to
Yes.
shift into
Right.
that type of thinking, we are, like I said earlier, we're learners. We're not as judgmental of ourselves. We're willing to take challenges and kind of stretch out of our comfort zone. We're willing to be innovative, to try new things, right? Because we know to expect some failures, and that's
Right.
part of the process. We ask for feedback, constructive feedback. We
Mm-hmm.
want that because we want to improve. And like I said earlier, we're persistent, right? We value effort. We work hard to do, to excel at what we want to excel at. And we know that part of that is working hard. It's not about natural gifts. It's about putting the effort,
Right.
and resilience, right? Like I said, it's about overcoming failures, knowing to expect them and overcoming them by learning from them.
Oh,
Right?
that sounds like a powerful book. Thank you for recommending that. Well, I have truly enjoyed listening to your journey and the stories that you shared. So, would you please share one more time how we can get in touch with you and any other resources that you want us to have, and then we'll say goodbye.
Absolutely. My business domain is www.veredkogan.com, and that is spelled V as in Victor, ERED as in David, KOGAN.com. And my email address is vered@veredkogan.com.
All right. Well, thank you again for being so generous with your time and your expertise and experiences, and for sharing those all with us. So, okay, listeners, you can find links to this resource and everything that we've been chatting about in today's episode by going to bizstorieshared.com/Vered Kogan. Thank you again, Vered, and goodbye.
Thank you, Charlotte. I'm so grateful for your time and for this
Oh,
special opportunity.
thank you. Give the storyteller some love. Go to bizstorieshared.com, click on the iTunes button, and give a 5-star review. Thanks.